another segment of Bodo's favorite films, and this week was a choice by Mitchell here, who's going to choose one of his favorites.
Goodfellas.
Hey.
Hey!
Hey!
Yeah. That.
Okay, well,
Okay, so Goodfellas is a movie, came out in 94.
90. The
I thought it
beginning
was
of the 90s.
thought it was
No,
like
no,
really
it came out
old.
in 1994, didn't it?
No, it came out in 1990.
I don't think you're right.
I feel like it's older than that. Like I thought it was like 70s.
No, it came out
Like
in
clearly it
What?
isn't, but like for a long time.
Okay,
I
so
thought
it came
was,
out in the 90s.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, you can find out when.
Yeah.
But Goodfellas came out in the 90s, starring Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and other
Really
Italian
shit.
people who Martin Scorsese is friends with or are his parents.
His mom's
And
in
it's
it.
about basically just life in the mob over 3 decades of real life people named Henry Hill, Jimmy Conway, and whoever Joe Pesci plays.
Tommy.
And
Tommy
Tommy
DeVito.
and Tom DeVito. Yeah, so it basically covers 30 years of life in the mob, and this is basically just one of the best movies ever made. It's 3 hours, but feels like it goes by in no time. It's just
it goes by
endlessly rewatchable.
Hilarious.
It's
In a
hilarious.
really
The
messed
characters
up
are
way.
greatly, darkly funny. It's just it does a great job of showing you what crime life is and how it's enticing to people and why Henry would want to be so badly. And like it makes you want to be a part of that crime life. Almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like because Harry in the narration kind of states outright says that to him being a gangster to him was kind of like being the president. It was something that he really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really like they kind of like they don't glamorize it, but at the beginning they kind of make it seem like really cool. Like when they go to the wife's perspective, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, all these people are like really nice to us, and like gave so much money."
Yeah. It always Scorsese just such a great job with just like the Copacabana long shot of just moving the camera around so well.
That shot's
Like
amazing.
maybe my favorite is even the one where you're getting introduced to all of his fellow like mob friends, like
And
where it goes by saying everybody's name and it's just the camera just follows who they are. It's just I think this is maybe Scorsese. I'd say it's his best movie. It's his best
probably his
shot
best
movie. He does such a great job with it.
This and like Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah,
Departed. There's like
I enjoy.
3.
It's mostly because it's the movie that kind of began the big.
Oh yeah, Preaching Bull too.
It's the movie that began the gangster movies. You know what I mean? Like they. No, I'm saying
there
I
was
meant
like
as in
Godfather
the
and like
and
every other
gangster
movie.
movies from the 30s.
no gangster
in the
movies from like
40s
the
and the
the
70s.
rise and fall gangster movies about a guy. who comes-
Scarface.
Yeah, Scarface. Okay, that's how.
There's
it
a lot
started.
of movies
So
before
that's
this.
incorrect.
Yeah, we
What we
fucked
just
that
had
one up.
there.
Okay, but I'll say is that so.
It's
That
the best gangster movie. Which is
Godfather's
very
better than that.
Godfather, for me, my money
It's
goes more
one up.
towards Godfather Part 2. But
Yeah, no,
that's-
it's in the top 2.
Yeah, and I'll say it's mostly because that in the movie kind of starts off, it kind of paints a very luxurious view of the gangster lifestyle. But then as the movie progresses, you start to realize if any of these guys does something incredibly stupid or
get
looks
killed.
at someone the wrong way, they're gone.
Yeah, they get killed. I think maybe my favorite part of the whole movie is when Robert De Niro is told that that Tommy DeVito was killed, and the way he's told about it is just like it had to be done. Like they treat it like it was just kind of this
Like
sort
we
of
lost them.
certain thing of business. Like it literally like they couldn't stop it from happening. They just described it as it had to be done. And of course, when Joe Pesci shot it, they pull him up behind him, and all you see is "oh," and then he just gets
Yeah, you knew it right
he's
when he
"Oh,
walked in the
crap,"
room.
and he just gets shot.
Oh, and
Which is built up by, speaking of Joe Pesci, who gives an
Tommy.
amazing performance.
Mm.
The Billy Bat scene.
oh,
Or
another
even the scene
Shiny
where
shoes.
when he's basically like
When the guy's like,
He's
"Oh
in
yeah,
that
you're really
funny scene.
Ray Liotta's like, oh, you're really funny, Tommy."
It's like,
and
what
he's
if-
like, funny how?
Like,
And that was
funny
all
who?
improvised, eh?
Yeah,
and he's
that's-
just like Ray Liotta's just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
he did they
Funny
he's
how.
yeah it's mostly because
So
it kind
tense.
of demonstrates how unhinged he is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, because like he's very much the type of mobster where if you say something incredibly stupid or look at him the wrong way, he'll kill you
Yeah, it's just,
because he's like, for example, Like, for example, one of the guys insults him, saying like, "Why don't you get your go home and get your shine box?" And he responds by beating the crap out of him.
Just such a great scene because it just starts out with him going to Joe Pesci and just kind of trying to talk to him, and Joe Pesci almost ignores him a little bit. And then you can already tell that the Billy Bass character is already starting to make fun of him a little bit, and that scene just builds and builds until Joe Pesci comes back. Just inevitably they kill him. They kill the maid guy, and that really has a lot to do with a lot of that and the heist that they pull that ends up going wrong in a few ways. Are the two things that kind of turn this movie from being just a great time for gangsters to them to things all going wrong.
Yeah, it's very much the rise and fall of the gangster era.
Like it was just great acting across the board. Ray Liotta. What's her name who plays his wife?
She's great.
Oh, what about when the wife comes home and she's she's crying and stuff because this one guy made a move on her, so he just goes and starts beating the crap with him with a gun. Just out of nowhere.
I mean, the best, another great part, just great scenes all throughout this movie.
The last day.
We'll get there.
But
I'm going a little earlier. The part where the freeze frame of where him as a kid just running away from an explosion, and he says, "One day all the local kids carried my mom's groceries in just out of respect," and it was just sums it up there for him. And it just shows how great, how much fun his life is.
Yeah, it's very much.
And then shows the consequences of just kind of taking everything that you want and doing what you want with it.
Doing for granted. Like another scene I really love in the movie is very much before. For me, another scene I really enjoy is mostly kind of like before, and this is before the scene where they go to get rid of the evidence, as in get rid of the guy who Tommy beats up, as in they go to visit Tommy's mom.
I was just gonna bring that up in
that was so awesome.
It's just such a funny scene because Joe Pesci's just so nice to his mom, who does turn out to be Scorsese's mom, and they just have this normal dinner. And then of course she brings up this painting, and Joe Pesci says the great line where he's like, "Oh, it looks like somebody we know," and it looks like Billy Bass, and it's just such great jokes throughout it. Just it just sounds like people talking, making jokes, and obviously the soundtrack and the score of the music is just great. Just
he takes the steak knife. He's like, "Yeah, I gotta cut off a deer."
Yeah.
The hoof, the paw
of the foot.
Joe Pesci's actually just amazing. The kid just kind of tells him to F off because just as a joke, so just shoots him right away.
Yeah, he doesn't at all. Oh, that scene where he's basically
I love how Robert De Niro just takes it as just really annoyed. He's like, "Come on, why'd you do that? Now we gotta go bury him."
Yeah. Well, it's kind of maybe the biggest sign that not only is this guy unhinged, but he's just too much. And
he's crazy.
What happened to him was just going to happen.
Yeah, he's basically probably the most unhinged portrayal of a gangster I've ever seen.
Wow.
Not only are the main guys, the main people great, and also the supporting characters, most of the gangsters that we were talking about, for example, Paulie. And most of the other guys, for example, there's the guy who has this commercial who basically Jimmy beats up all.
He jumps in the pool and the wig doesn't come off, and then Jimmy starts just grabs him and flies off his head.
He would have literally it just shows how little they value life. How the scene how he just keeps flipping back and forth in between killing this guy and not killing this guy. I think the best thing this movie does is just right from the opening narration, how this movie just builds this world and just talks about all the intricacies and how what you do as a mobster and what you don't do, and all the stuff that they talk about with Paulie, and how they explain how Paulie takes over a joint and just always ends up with him burning the place down. And it just the way that they showed you all the rules and showed you all the norms of this world and how they created it is basically the reason why it's just such a classic, because it looks at the a real life story more in depth than any movie has.
Best bio ever showed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best biopics.
It's the best.
Yeah, well, would you consider Lawrence of Arabia a biopic?
Is it about true events?
Yeah, obviously. It is clearly a biopic, but it's not as good as Goodfellas.
That's good. But that's just me. I'll say also, the movie very much ends of. Can we talk about the last day?
The last day is great. How the movie just changes from all these long, graceful, just fun time shots to just quick cuts throughout his whole cocaine panic, and it's great. Everything's
helicopter. And he thinks he's dead at first, but then the cops.
I love how they set up everything going wrong for him with the helicopter, the
sauce.
His sister,
his nanny having to go back for the hat. Just everything went wrong that day until finally he came outside and it just reached the inevitable conclusion. Inevitable. And then he had to give up all his friends. And I love how they make the point of the movie is that loses more than anything. He loses the ability to be a part of this lifestyle. He has to grow the rest of his life. Spend the rest of his life like a schnook, as he said. And of course, that great shot of him in the courtroom where he just gets up and the camera follows him talking about how now it's all over. And just one of the best.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet the way it ends. And also, my favorite part of that ending for me is the shot where before he goes inside, you see Tommy
Joe
pulling out a
gunshot,
shooting. Like it kind of represents that if Tommy was still alive, he would have got axed off.
Yeah, and they really do it, like, because, they're always building it, like, with the one guy, like, you never know when someone's gonna get killed. Like, before, it's just like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, and then he goes and dies, and, like, he knows, oh, if I went to Atlanta, I would have been killed.
Yeah,
like,
it's so great that they set up the tension at the end of the movie where,
just, like, they're acting
Henry
like
Hill
friends,
thinks
but
Jimmy
Jimmy's
is
gonna
kill him.
Die.
Yeah, it was just, all in all, obviously a great movie. If you haven't seen Goodfellas,
10.
Yeah, I'll probably give it like a 9 out of 10, mostly because even though it's not one of my favorites, it's a very rewatchable movie.
What's wrong with
a
it?
9.
Like,
Name
what's
one
the
scene that isn't
amazing?
amazing. Name one scene that isn't brilliantly directed, written perfectly.
Okay,
How is it not-
all right.
how is it
I'll change it to 10.
No, you're not allowed to
You have
do
to, you have to give me
allowed.
one thing that's wrong with it. If you can name that, you can give it a 9.
Yeah, why? Why am I so fucking
One
funny?
thing that isn't good about the movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's a 10. We all say it's a 10.
All right, 10.
We're done.
10.
Okay. No, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to,
You
but
gotta
like, there's
not.
no reason.
Okay,
for him.
Goodfellas. Watch it if you haven't, and if you can
Hilarious.
watch it, it's the most
Tense.
rewatchable movie ever. It's great. Scorsese, classic, maybe his best.
Probably his best.
Yeah. So, want to close it out?
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to the Film World of Nicholas Bodo.